I want to preview the Brighton game just quickly. Glenn, I'm going to give you the honours of this. Yeah, the reverse fixture in December was probably the game that felt like the start of the Nathan Jones tenure as manager, because I know he did the Liverpool game, then the Cup game. Needless to say, we lost 3-1 and Lallana scored that soft header. And I think we changed formation about 30 times that game.
Yeah.
We're both in very different situations now, but after their result against Arsenal, it's going to be a tough one.
Well, I remember last week they got tanked 5-1 by Everton, didn't they? Which has obviously shaken them up a bit, and they've won today at Arsenal and handed the title to Man City. Not that they needed it handing to them anyway. They've had a brilliant season, haven't they? They're the same sort of place where we were in 2016, and I always found it interesting that Tony Bloom, who I think is still their chairman, always held us up as a model to follow back in the day, and he's obviously, he's taken that and run with it. They've already survived, losing players this season. They've lost Trossard and Bissouma at various points of this season, but replaced them with Mitoma and Caicedo, who are two excellent players who've done really, really well. They'll probably lose Caicedo this year. They'll probably lose McAllister. They might even lose the manager. But they already seem to be sort of like churning things around, bringing new players in. So fair play to them. They've done absolutely brilliantly this season, and it was no surprise to me that they beat Arsenal today. Yeah. No surprise at all. And they won't have to play that well to beat us, obviously. So, it could be horrible. I mean, we usually get a decent result there. I don't think
we're a Premier League game there. The same way that they've not lost a Premier League game at St Mary's.
Yeah, it's a weird stat about the away team always doing well, but I'm sure that record will end.
Yeah, we're in generous mood.
Next Sunday.
Technically, we're not a Premier League team anymore. So
I guess. So, I personally, I think the only way, if you assume we're not going to win, which I think is a pretty safe assumption, the only way we'll get something out of it is giving some of the youngsters a game. Not 8 of them or anything like that, but get 1 or 2 in there, at least on the bench or at least on the pitch at some point, and only pick players who you can trust to put in a performance or that are going to be here next year. So, for example, if it was me, I'd be having a word with people and just saying, "Are you intending to be here next year? Because if you ain't, I'm not going to play here." So, I'd like to see. Even James Bree, give him a game. Or Lewis Payne, and then you've got, and up front we've got absolutely nothing to lose because our forwards are useless. So give Kamari Doyle, Don Ballard minutes. Let get him in. You still, Ward-Prowse still plays, obviously. I'd like to see Romeo Lavia given a rest, not because it's just we've been flogging him to death. We're now relegated. Give him a week off, and then put him back in the team against Liverpool for the last game. But I'd just like to see it shaken up a bit. But Mr. Defensive, I'm sure, probably won't do that, and we'll probably turn up and have the same old crap out on the pitch that we've had in the last few games.
He was hinting at it this week, Jacob, wasn't he? He mentioned that the last couple of games might be an opportunity for some of the B team players. I thought we might have seen a few more yesterday, and I kind of hoped that we would have done. But surely this is the perfect opportunity now. 2 games to go and nothing to play for.
Yeah, it's. I think you've probably got to look at Don Ballard and Kamado at the forefront. If they don't get opportunities, then will they be here next year? You've probably got to show them that there's a pathway, that they can get game time. And considering that there's currently there was 2 change rooms at Staples for the first team a couple of months ago under Jones because of the divide, but also because there's just too many first team players. Imagine having to fit a few more players in as well to train this week. It's going to be pretty problematic.
It's interesting that the same very specific problem has affected both Saints and Chelsea this season, where they've literally had an extra dressing room installed. It's mad.
It's very similar to the way the clubs have gone, really, just relative to their size. But I think for me, Don Ballard and Kamado, you you have to look at, and I completely agree. You look at the players that are probably likely going to be here next season. It's not whether a case of asking them, are they going to be here next year? Because a lot of them will probably say, speak to my agent. It's probably who you think. So it could be Gavin Bazunu in goal coming back in, James Bree coming back in, Jan Bednarek, staying in that team. So yeah, I think there's a lot to do, but I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps it to players he trusts. So he's a case of Adam Armstrong, Mohamed Elyounoussi coming in as well for his last 2 games.
What's the point? But I mean, that I know you're speculating, but that actually makes me angry to think I might have to watch those 2 again because they're useless.
Yeah,
trust them to do what?
Press.
Trust them to do nothing. They do nothing. They're garbage. I mean, the game against Fulham. Oh, sorry, I'm off on one now.
That's all right. Let him go. Let him go.
Go on.
We had another episodes of Sellers' sensational substitutions, didn't we? So at the end of the game, we ended up with Sekou Mara.
Sounds like a far show.
Adam Armstrong, Elyounoussi, and Moussa Djenepo. What was Moussa Djenepo smoking at halftime? He came on, ran around like an idiot, tripped over, crashed into someone, should have got booked. And honestly, why are we still giving these jokers minutes on the pitch? It's unbelievable that as a Premier League football club, I know we gave Moussa a new contract. That was another great decision, wasn't it? But and he actually ended up at left back, didn't he, for 5 minutes after he took Maitland-Niles off, who actually wasn't that bad yesterday. And just
the signs are all there, aren't they?
Find some of the decisions unbelievable. So Joe Aribo will play against
Brighton.
Just what you need in a game that's going to be full of pace.
What I want to know is, of course, you 2 are going, which I think is excellent. I just want to know, what's the fancy dress? Are you both dressing up?
Depending on how quickly it deteriorates, I'll be dressing up as a blue seat.
I did see clowns discussed today, which I thought was quite interesting and could be quite fun. But
yeah, I mean, it's one of those though. If the weather's like it's been today, that'll be a horrible sweaty mess that nobody needs to bear witness to.
2,500 sweaty clowns. Right, going to do score predictions from you, Glenn. Score prediction for the Brighton game, please.
Southampton 0.
Okay.
What shall we have? 3-0 to Brighton.
3-0 to Brighton. Okay. Steve.
4.
I thought 4 as well, actually, but then I wrote mine down whilst I was watching the Arsenal game this afternoon.
I mean, if they're even half as good as they were today, then we're in a whole world of trouble.
Yeah. And Jacob,
do you know what? I get a lot of people mocking me for my predictions and saying how I'm bottom of the league or whatever. But I don't know if people realise, but since January, I've not really taken it seriously. I've just gone for Southampton win every time. So for that reason, yeah, exactly. I'm going to change tack again. I'm going to go for a Brighton win, but I think Ward-Prowse is going to get a free kick. I just hope he's
please. That's the only thing we want to happen now, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what we're playing for.
We've not even got one within 40 yards of goal.
Because they're wise to us now, aren't they? Everyone's wise to it.
That's all Saints have got. Yeah, don't give away any free kicks and sit back and wait for them to mess up in defence. That's it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 defeat.
3-1 defeat. All right, thank you. Safe travels to everyone that's heading down there. I did see someone this week said that they found the podcast a useful part of their grieving process and have done this year. So I really hope that the last 55 minutes has helped in some way. And don't forget, you can always get in touch with us during the week because there's another couple of weeks still to come.